So, good morning, Excellencies, Ministers, Ambassadors, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Katerina Tsamouri. I'm journalist, diplomatic correspondent, and news anchor. It's a great pleasure and honor, with a sense of deep responsibility, to welcome you to Athens, to the opening of the 6th Partnership of Transatlantic Energy Cooperation, or P-TEC, as many of us know it. We are honored to host this year's forum in the historic setting of Zappeion Megaron, a place that has witnessed key milestone in Greece's modern history. And today, it stands ready to host yet another, a gathering of distinguished leaders, ministers, and industry visionaries committed to shaping the future of energy cooperation across the Atlantic. Over the next 2 days, ladies and gentlemen, this forum will bring together public and private industry leaders, all united by a same goal: to strengthen energy cooperation across the Atlantic and to build a more secure, affordable, and resilient energy future. P-TEC has become the flagship platform for energy ministries and industries from Central and Eastern Europe, working side by side with the US Department of Energy, US agencies, and the private sector. Together, they are shaping a regional energy architecture that is collaborative, future-facing, and built on shared values. This year, for the first time ever, P-TEC convenes live from Athens, which is huge. In a moment of particular significance for Greece, as we gather here, the country is stepping into a new role. Greece is not only an energy player. Greece, it is rapidly becoming an energy getaway. With a strategic infrastructure like Revithoussa and Alexandroupoli LNG terminal, a decades-old vision is turning now into a real influence, connecting the American LNG to the South and East Europe and securing new corridors of supply in shifting geopolitical landscape. The next 2 days, ladies and gentlemen, are more than symbolic. They are substantive. They are an opportunity to advance investment, to confirm partnerships, and, as we expect, to finalize critical energy deals, agreements that will strengthen regional supply and affirm Greece's position as a transit hub. As we begin, allow me to offer a brief overview of what this important gathering will explore over the next 2 days. These proceedings of this year's P-TEC are jointly organized by Mr. Stavros Papastavrou, Minister of Environment and Energy of Greece, and Mr. Chris Wright, United States Secretary of Energy, in partnership with the Atlantic Council. Feel free to applaud. Today's business forum convenes a distinguished group of leaders from both the public and the private sectors. Throughout the day, we will hear from ministers, chief executives, and strategic thinkers as they address critical themes, including energy infrastructure, the intersection of energy and AI, capital investment strategies, and the resilience of cybersecurity of energy systems. Tomorrow, the ministerial meeting will broaden the lens, placing particular emphasis on the role of liquefied natural gas as a driver of European competitiveness, the development of secure, intelligent energy grids, and the imperative of regional cooperation in a time of profound transformation. Allow me to pause to just welcome to Zappeion Megaron, Ambassador of the United States, Mrs. Kimberly Guilfoyle. Welcome, Ambassador. In total, So once again, welcome to Athens, welcome to Greece, welcome to P-TEC. Please visit the Atlantic Council website for the agenda and the full list of the speakers. For convenience, some QR codes have been added to your badge. And as a reminder, this is a public on-the-record event being live-streamed by the Atlantic Council Global Energy Center to an audience around the world. So without further ado, let's begin our program with a high-level dialogue that sets the tone for the next 2 days ahead. This fireside chat brings together two key figures leading transatlantic cooperation in the energy sector, both at a regional and national level. Their perspectives will frame many of the themes we will explore throughout this forum. To moderate this important conversation, we are pleased to welcome a respected journalist and a good colleague of mine, Mrs. Sia Kosioni, anchorwoman and journalist at Sky. She will be joined by Mr. Stavros Papastavrou, Minister of Environment and Energy of the Hellenic Republic, and Chris Wright, United States Secretary of Energy. Welcome to Greece. Mrs. Kosioni, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Katerina. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. With this fireside chat, we are opening the P-TEC, the 6th P-TEC, hosted in Athens. And let me express a special welcome for our American guests, to all of you. Seems like something important is happening today here in Athens. And to begin with, I have to tell you that I have received serious threats about being punctual. So my first question is addressed to both of you. The European Union legislative proposal aims to end imports of Russian gas and oil by the end of 2027. So why is this initiative strategically important for the United States? One. Two, why is this what role does the U.S. government, and American energy companies play in supporting Europe's transition? And why has Greece been identified as a key partner in this effort? So, Mr. Papastavrou, since you are the host, I think you should go first.
Thank you. First of all, let me welcome you all here. When we first spoke with Chris, actually, I was at John Ardill's office back in May in Woodlands, in Texas, and we had our first call, and we said maybe we do a P-TEC event in Athens. And I think we never imagined that we have all these amazing people here. So thank you all for traveling and being here. It's very important. Thank you very much. Funding aggression is not good. Funding aggression is something that both the US and the EU is against. And that's very important for both sides of the Atlantic. We believe strongly that for the stability, the peace, and the prosperity of the region, we need to totally phase out from Russian gas. And I think this is one of the areas where both the European Union and the US see eye to eye. This is something that, for Greece, has a special importance, given our continuous and unconditional stance against aggression, having the invasion of Cyprus and the illegal occupation for so many decades. Now, why Greece? You named some, the initial comments made some of the obvious remarks. Geography, crossroads of 3 centuries. Infrastructure, Revithousa, FSRU, pipelines. Economic and political stability, but I think there is a deeper, a more substantive reason, and that is that I believe we speak more or less the same language. We value this vertical corridor not only on a standalone economic dimension. It's not only about the commodity, but it's about transcending and transforming the region, creating peace and prosperity in a region that has been divided by wars, by geography, and that's why I believe Greece is a gateway to the vertical corridor. And I'm very thrilled that I see that so many companies are here, and this dream, this big idea, is coming into reality. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Minister Wright, the same question, please. Why is this initiative so important for the United States? and what role does the US government and US companies have to play here in helping Europe implement this policy? Additionally, how do you understand Greece's role and what Minister Papastavrou mentioned out, given the complicated regional framework, threats that Greece often faces from abroad? What are you willing, is the US government willing to safeguard or secure such investments, such infrastructure?
Absolutely. That's why I'm here. That's why we're all here, is to bond our futures more closely together. The United States and our tremendous allies in Europe, we came together to win in World War II. We came together to prevail in the Cold War and to make sure freedom and democracy and representative government was the way humans lived. These ideas, these early ideas, of course, really first took root here 2,500 years ago. So I love to see these freedom-loving nations of the United States and Greece come together in this cause, and of course the nations across Europe. The world today, just to be candid, because that's my style, the world runs on oil, gas, and coal. It did when I was born. It was 85% of global energy when I was born. It's 84% of global energy today. I went to college to work in nuclear. I worked in solar in graduate school. I worked in geothermal after. I'm all for finding additional energy sources, but to be honest, the world runs on oil, gas, and coal, and it will for as long as we can see. Natural gas is cheaper than oil, and it's far more abundant than oil, but it requires infrastructure to move it. If you build infrastructure, gas becomes much cheaper than oil, much cleaner than oil. It's not just about electricity, it's about manufacturing, it's about home heating, it's about fertilizers, it's about economic opportunity, and it's about security. Fortunately, in the United States, we have an amazing abundance of natural gas. I think we have a tremendous opportunity right now to displace all of the Russian gas, all of it, every last molecule out of Western Europe. The United States has the gas. We would love nothing more than to cooperate to build this infrastructure. As infrastructure gets built and volumes grow, costs come down. The security of energy matters. The cost of energy matters. Where you get energy from matters. I think it brings the United States and the countries of Europe closer together to our mutual benefit. And every molecule that Russia does not sell into Europe, every molecule, it doesn't go somewhere else. They only have one pipeline. They have 5 pipelines that come to Europe and 1 pipeline that goes to China. The pipeline to China is full. Every molecule that does not come to Europe stays in the ground, does not go into the pockets of Putin and to the Russian war machine. We can both starve the Russian war machine and build a growing future relationship between the great nations of Europe and the United States. And Greece is the perfect entree point. Historical shipping nation, leading the continent and frankly the world in shipping today. You have the infrastructure here to get into the rest of Europe. This is an opportunity made in heaven. Let's seize it together.
Thank you. Mr. Papastavrou, is Greece, is our country's private sector ready to contribute in such a transition and support such projects?
They are ready. They are ready and going. And I think you see here all the Greek companies who have been very active until now in so many different fronts, in the pipelines that Chris said, in Revithousa, in FSRU, in the new pipeline with gas with North Macedonia. The Greek companies are pioneers. They have the Odysseus spirit, and they are enabled by a government. I think that's another element of we're speaking the same language. The Prime Minister Mitsotaki's government has cut in the last 6 years 83 different taxes. We're a pro-business government who believe that the private sector has a key role to play for the increase of the economy. So yes, the Greek private sector is here, they're strong, and they are really looking forward to take the opportunity, this historic opportunity, to transform the whole region.
Minister Wright, you've talked about the importance of ending energy poverty and advancing U.S. energy leadership. What role do you see the U.S. playing in increasing energy access?
Yes, I've been passionate about energy my whole life. And in a little bit of a blind squirrel finds nut story, I'm not as profound as Homer, but I know that blind squirrels eventually find nuts. The shale revolution in the United States really transformed us from the largest importer of natural gas in the world to the largest exporter of natural gas in the world. So a great story for the United States, but honestly a great story for the world, because this surging abundance of natural gas dramatically lowered the price. The price in the US came down 60 or 70%. It saved of order $2,000 per American family in our country, just the abundance of natural gas that drove down heating prices, drove down industrial prices, drove down electricity prices, until bad policies in our country are doing everything possible to push electricity prices back up. But fortunately, President Trump was elected to reverse that trend and bring prices back down. But if you can lower the price of energy, you just expand people's life opportunities. Even in the United States, about 10% of Americans report deep struggles paying their energy bills. 3.5 million people get a notice that their electricity is going to be turned off. I find this outrageous in our countries of wealth and prosperity, that politicians, that we do things that make energy more expensive. Well, for businesses, they can deal with that. Some businesses profit from more expensive energy. But when you make energy more expensive, you just lower everyone's standard of living. And for those that are not so fortunate, that have a lower standard of living to begin with, you put people from lower middle class into poverty. So I have been passionate my whole life that we need more energy and that the cost of energy matters. About 1 billion people live like us in this room. We wear fancy clothes, we travel to conferences, we turn the heat on in the wintertime and the air conditioning on in the summertime. We live wonderful, opportunity-rich lives. That's 1 billion people. 7 billion people, they want what we have. More than half the people walking the world today are wearing hand-washed clothes. Think of the time that is. When you bring clothes washers, when you bring cooking fuel that just turns on and turns off, you lift everyone up and you transform the life of women. You liberate women from drudgery. So please think hard and deep about when you have policies, are they going to make energy more expensive and reduce everyone's opportunities in life, or are they going to make energy less expensive and lift everyone up? I view it as black and white, but there's amazing the political forces in favor of and driving for expensive, unreliable energy. In the US, across our country, we have states with very low-cost energy. My friend, Doug Burgum, our Secretary of the Interior, he was a leader of one of those states. He drove down energy prices in his state. He lifted his state from 39th in per capita income to near number 1 in the United States by getting energy policy right. That's how you can lift up your society and drive people forward. But we should never be complacent. There are always forces pushing the other way. I'll call one out, and I think we are aligned here, but it has to happen. CSDD in European regulations, it is an absolute existential risk to affordable energy in Europe. If you can't do business from countries around the world, not just the United States, but all the countries, if you make it too risky and too expensive to do business here, that gas will go elsewhere. We don't want to see that happen. I want to see Europe with an abundant energy sources, secure energy sources from your allies, and downward pressure on energy prices so industry can come back to Europe, so AI can thrive in Europe, so standards of living and economic growth can thrive in Europe. Please work with us to make sure that will happen, but it takes work, it takes risk-taking, and it takes pushback on things that are driving things in the opposite direction.
What a debate it is.
I just want to make one comment very briefly. I completely agree. We have the same debate in Europe. There is a great discrepancy between prices, electricity prices, between the north and the center part of Europe and the southeast. And we're working very hard, and I see the Commission being here. We're working very hard to increase the grid, to have a serious, to have 6 times more the European budget in order to create infrastructure, because it's really totally morally unfair to claim to have a common European energy sector, and in the end, to have some countries suffering high prices and some households who have the consequence of it and some other countries benefiting. So I'm echoing that this is something that we have also in Europe.
Yes, indeed, and I am seeing one of the commissioners in the front row here who's our partner in trying to push back against these policies that have driven energy prices up. We have the same battle in the United States. I lived in California for many years. It is a state that was a magnet for the American dream. Think Hollywood, think Silicon Valley, think our aerospace industry. California is just a tremendous land of opportunity, but bad policies and the arrogance of those wealthy and in power. California today has the highest adjusted poverty rate of any state in the United States. Everything going for it, and it got energy policy wrong, and it is plummeted down as no longer a state of opportunity. It's a state that's difficult to live in. It's a state that more Americans are leaving than coming to. You can have everything going for you and still blow it if you get energy policy wrong. You can be a northern, remote state in the Great Plains of the United States and not have everything going for you, but get energy policy right, and you can bring prosperity, population growth, opportunity, and a very happy populace, and an overwhelming re-election. Getting energy policy right is the way to win in your society.
I'm afraid we have to accelerate. Minister Papastavrou, Greece's ongoing upstream operations, this is my final question for you, highlights the importance of reasonable resource development and regional energy stability. So how do these developments strengthen Greece's position as a reliable regional hub, and how does all this possibly answer to legal dispute, to overlapping agreements in the Mediterranean?
Well, I think for us the upstream is very important. When I took office, the Prime Minister gave me a clear direction that this should be the #1 priority. We worked very hard with Chevron. I remember when I spoke with Doug back in March, he asked me if we're going to run fast, if we're going to have a lot of regulations, or if we're going to be making the Chevron's interest a reality, and I think we did. We proved right. That's another common element we have, that the government should enable the private sector. I think that we're going to have important announcements in a little while here on the same sector. I understand that ExxonMobil, Hellenic Energy, and Energean will be announcing something on this space, and that makes me particularly happy because it shows that Greece is having the confidence of the industry. Mm-hmm. As far as neighbors, I think Greece is moving forward. There is the issue with Libya and the common line between our two countries, but even in the Libyan exploration program, their announcements follow exactly the medium line. I believe that the presence of ExxonMobil and Chevron and of the US government here strengthens our position and shows that there's only one way forward: working together, making business, creating infrastructure for one region to support peace, stability, and prosperity in the region. Thank you so much.
You've given some news today already. My final question to you, Mr. Wright. Minister Wright, nuclear energy, I understand, is a major priority for your government. What do you think the role of nuclear is in achieving energy security for P-TEC countries?
So I think the future for nuclear energy is very bright. It started rapidly after World War II. It grew tremendously, but first generation designs. We lost public confidence. We had some mistakes. It still has the track record as the safest energy source on the planet, but we have next generation technology coming on now, where if everything goes wrong, the reactor turns off. You have to actively keep it on. So it's going to be much safer. We talk a lot about energy and we talk a lot about electricity. We need to remember they're two different things. Electricity is one piece of the energy pie. It's the most talked about, but only 20% of global primary energy is delivered via electrical wires. The most important source of energy in the world is high temperature process heat. You can't build an electricity grid or a car or a building or anything without the energy used in manufacturing. It doesn't come from electricity. We use a little bit of electricity in manufacturing. We did 50 years ago, we did 25, we do today. It's only 15% of the energy in manufacturing. Nuclear can provide high temperature process heat in addition to electricity. It can be a major part of the energy system going forward. 1,000 years from now, we will use nuclear energy to make hydrocarbon molecules. You can't have a modern world without hydrocarbon molecules, the ultimate store and delivery mechanism for energy. But nuclear can be that partner with hydrocarbons in the long run. Probably the only thing outside of hydrocarbons that could be a massive source of global energy. Let's get it going together.
That will be all. Thank you very much. We've been as punctual as possible. Katerina, thank you.
Mr. Papastavros, Secretary Wright, and Ms. Kosioni, thank you very much for this insightful opening dialogue. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to turn to a joint address from one of the key energy ministers representing the 3Cs initiative, a regional platform designed to enhance cooperation among 13 European nations. And they are partners, of course, in the fields of energy, transport, and digital connectivity. Croatia and Poland have played a leading role to the 3Cs initiative conception and development over the years, and you will notice that the initiative's purpose closely complements the P-TEC's mission of regional partnership and integration. Please welcome on stage Mr. Ante Surciniar, Minister of Energy of Croatia. Welcome, sir.
Distinguished ministers, Wright and Papastavros, dear guests and colleagues. Thank you for introduction and setting the right tone for the forum. It is my great pleasure to address you at the P-TEC Business Forum. At a time when energy and security infrastructure and digital connectivity are deeply connected, partnerships such as P-TEC are more important than ever. Croatia remains strongly committed to our collective efforts, especially in energy security. In that sense, we are proud to be part of the 3Cs initiative, a platform that connects 13 EU member states between the Adriatic, Baltic, and Black Sea, and it is strongly supported by the United States, whose engagement has been crucial in advancing the initiative's strategic goals. And in less than a decade, this initiative has become a strategic partnership that reflects a spirit of unity and shared purpose. As Croatia assumes the presidency of the 3Cs initiative, our focus will be on advancing economic cooperation, investment, and connectivity, while ensuring security and resilience across the region. We aim to attract private capital through stronger financial instruments, improve cross-border infrastructure links, and better integrate our region with major global corridors such as the India-Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, and the Middle Corridor. Energy security remains the heart of our prosperity. recent geopolitical challenges have reminded us that a resilient and diversified energy system are the foundation of the stability. A clear example of this is the LNG terminal on the island of Kirk, operational since 2021. Its capacity has increased to 6.1 billion cubic meters, and new pipelines and interconnections with Hungary and Slovenia are under construction. Today, more than 65% of LNG deliveries to Kirk come from the United States, making Croatia not only an energy hub, but also a key link in the transatlantic energy partnership. Another important example is the Southern Gas Interconnection, which will create a new supply route for Bosnia and Herzegovina. It is more than a technical project. It is a symbol of regional solidarity and strategic cooperation. Those projects demonstrate how the Three Seas initiatives and P-TEC can work hand in hand to turn shared goals into practical results. P-TEC provides the strategic transatlantic framework connecting Europe and the United States on energy and climate goals. Meanwhile, the Three Seas initiative delivers regional infrastructure, investment tools, and concrete projects that bring those goals to life. Together, they are shaping a more connected, competitive, and secure Europe. In conclusion, next year, in April 2026, Croatia will have the honor of hosting the next Three Seas Initiative Summit and Business Forum in Dubrovnik. It will be an important opportunity to showcase our region achievements, explore new investment partnerships, and strengthen the bridge between European Union and our transatlantic allies. Croatia stands ready to continue this work hand in hand with our neighbors, our European partners, and our transatlantic friends. Together, through P-TEC and Three Seas initiative, we can build a stronger, more connected, more resilient future for our citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister, for underlining the importance of regional cooperation and for your leadership within the Three Seas initiative. And now, ladies and gentlemen, now we have a very important energy agreement that is about to be signed on what marks a new era in hydrocarbon exploration in Greece. You should give us a couple of minutes to prepare the stage, as I will call on stage to join me their Excellencies John Ardell, Mattia Rigas, Secretary Wright, Minister Papastavros, Secretary Bergam, and of course Ambassador Kimberly Guilfoyle. Also, I would like to ask on stage the representatives from the energy companies that is gonna do a great announcement that everybody's going to talk about later on, believe me. The stage is setting and we are about to start. So, just to cover the, awkwardness, you can applaud one more time. Thank you for that. Special thanks to the staff for being that fast. And so, the representative of the companies, as well as the excellencies, the ministers, and of course the ambassador will join us for this great agreement that we, all the journalists, were talking about all week long. I can see some colleagues of mine yelling to me. Now we will know. Now we will know. This is an historic agreement, considering Greece's role, geopolitical-wise, and of course, energy and economic-wise. As I can tell from the table, it's going to be huge. Okay. Thank you for your patience. The flags are mandatory for the photos that is going to be taken.
Right now.
Come, Kimberly.
I kindly invite John Alder to his remarks.
No, I'll say a few words. Let me say a few words. Thank you, Chris.
Minister Papastavrou, please.
I don't know if it works with...
I believe that it works with
Okay, very few words. We've been working with John on this for more than a year. The Prime Minister met with him in the General Assembly. I would like to thank all three companies, Energia and Hellenic Energy, ExxonMobil. As I said, we spoke about in the Woodlands when I was there with Nikos Tsafos, at GasTech when I was there with Aris Stefatos. This is a very important, important news. The farm-in agreement, which I'm sure Mathios will explain, brings technology and capabilities in the hydrocarbon area in Greece. If successful, it will bring drilling, exploratory drilling, back to Greece after 40 years. So we're back in the drilling board, Greece as the US. And if successful, it will provide for Greece and for Europe domestic resources. So this can prove to be a historic signing. So, Mathieu, you want to say a few words about the...
Thank you, and let me explain what we signed. It's a great day, and I'm very proud that ExxonMobil is signing an agreement with us and Hellenic to farm in to 60% of Block 2 in Western Greece. This is a block that we've been working on since 2020. We shot seismic, we have identified the prospects, and we believe that it has the potential to make Greece energy independent. I'm also very proud that this is work that has been done by Greek engineers, Greek geoscientists and geologists. That makes me even more proud that after what we've been doing in the Mediterranean, where we operate in 6 different countries, it's now time, with the support of the US, to do the first drilling operation after 40 years, as Minister Papastavrou said. It's about time Greece finds its oil and gas resources. That's our goal. And as a closing remark, our commitment to the local communities, our commitment to the Greek people is to continue operating with the same sensitivity that we've been operating for 40 years in the Bay of Kavala, where tourism and oil and gas has worked together, and this is our commitment to the country as to every other country we've worked with. And in 2026, beginning of 27, if everything goes according to plan, we should see the first rig come to Greece and drill this very important well. Thank you very much.
Good work. Bravo.
Say a few words on behalf of ExxonMobil. So 3 very quick points on who we are, what we do, and then thirdly, why we are here in Greece today. So on the first point, ExxonMobil has been delivering molecule-based energy since 1870, so over 150 years. So that's built a great capability and experience. Today, we are the largest international oil company in the world and the largest producer of oil and the largest market capitalization. So we're a major player in the world energy stage. So what do? We're the ones that go out, find the oil and gas, then build the production capacity. And why do we do that? We do that to grow economies, deliver energy for today's society. And then the third point, why are we here in Greece today? So I'm delighted to have our secretaries, Bergam and Wright, here, who have unwavering support for our industry and our company. What that's done for the United States, in 2005, the US was the largest importer of liquids and natural gas. Today, the US is the largest producer of liquids and natural gas in the world. And if you hear Secretary Bergam talk about where we're going in the future, this creates a foundation of low-cost, reliable, and affordable electricity to underpin an AI-driven economic growth for the future. And that's coming very, very quickly. So as we come here to Athens today, we have an exploration footprint across North Africa and the Eastern Mediterranean. We have a minister from Cyprus here. We have 2 discoveries in Cyprus, discoveries in Egypt, and today we're expanding our exploration footprint in Greece, adding a 3rd very prospective block, and that puts us on a pathway to partnership to drill this in the 2027 timeframe. So we're delighted to be here. We're delighted to bring ExxonMobil's technology and capability and we're delighted with our partnership, both at the government level and our investment partners. Thank you very much.
Bravo, John. Thank you.
First of all, a big thank you to John and Matthias for getting here today, and to the Minister of Energy, who has been very supportive during this journey. Matthias explained a little bit about the assets. For us, being the biggest company in energy in Greece, it's a small part of our activities, but it is part of a growing upstream portfolio. We have a number of blocks under exploration in Greece. 2 of them are with Exxon, and another 4 with Chevron. This is the most mature block. A lot of work has been done on it, so we are moving into the next phase. I think what needs to be emphasized is what Secretary Wright said, that people forget that the majority of energy is actually coming from hydrocarbons. Everybody's talking about energy as if it's only green electrons. We all want a green planet, but at the end of the day, we also are prepared to accept the responsibility that in order to get there, we need to have resources. And resources come from hydrocarbons today. So this is a big step for the company. It's a big step for the joint venture partners, and it's a big step for Greece because it's going to create more security for the energy supply chain, not only in Greece, but also in Europe overall. So thank you again for making this happen.
So President Trump's policies pretty clearly stated prosperity at home and peace abroad. They go together. How do we generate prosperity? Businesses cooperating, businesses risking money and capital to find things that are going to better societies. That's how we generate prosperity in Greece and around the world. It also leads to peace. And I got to say one last thing. When Exxon was started at the very beginning of the oil and gas industry, global life expectancy at birth was a little over 30 years. Today it's 73 years. Oil and gas and the expansion of coal, they transformed the human condition. We have planes, trains, and automobiles, and modern medicine, long life expectancies, and all sorts of spectacular opportunities. Simply not possible without hydrocarbons. In fact, you can't make a wind turbine or a solar panel or a nuclear power plant or a hydroelectric dam without massive amounts of hydrocarbons. So to see the first offshore well be drilled in Greece in almost 50 years is simply tremendously exciting. I couldn't be more proud and thankful for the 3 gentlemen and the 3 companies sitting at this table right now. God bless you all.
Yeah, John, can you give the microphone to Doug?
Good morning. I'm Doug Burgum, Secretary of Interior, Chairman of the National Energy Dominance Council. It's a thrill to be here today. I want to say again, with our 2 speakers this morning, Secretary Wright, Minister Papastravos, this was a fantastic way to kick off P-TEC. You guys hit every note we needed to hear. And I would just say for the audience here, we need to understand there is no energy transition. Newsflash. There is no energy transition. There's only energy addition. As Chris and Stravos have said, we need more, whether it's for health and human condition, prosperity, whether it's peace itself, we need more. And the announcement that's being signed today is so exciting. Greece taking their own natural resources, developing them. When we have energy security, you have national security. And there's been no place that's been more racked by the lack of that than Eastern Europe. The dependence on an adversarial supplier that is able to wage war and conflict in Eastern Europe. And now, with the EU and everyone working together, there's a goal: end the sale of Russian gas. Together, that can make a huge difference. And President Trump sends his greetings to all of you. I spoke to him last night. He is focused on stopping the killing, ending the wars, ending the conflicts. So when we get peace, then you can begin the prosperity. Steps like this where we move towards energy abundance. Energy abundance means it's affordable, secure, reliable energy. That's what energy abundance is about. And in America's strategy, again, is around one thing. It's having the energy to be able to sell to our friends and allies so they can stop buying from our adversaries. Together, all of you in this room, we can change the world, but it also takes the private sector, it takes entrepreneurs, it takes leadership like the Prime Minister of Greece and others that say they're willing to sort of buck the trend and say, no, we need to develop our own resources. This signing today is super significant because this is a step from a policy standpoint. When Chris Wright says you got to get the policy right, this announcement today is one of those great steps. So with that, I want to say again, congratulations to everybody that's signing. Thanks to the leadership of Greece and a special welcome. We're so pleased for the United States of America. We think you've got the best ambassador in the world working here in Greece. And here she is, Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Good morning, and yes, I'm Kimberly Guilfoyle, the United States Ambassador to the fabulous Hellenic Republic. Gentlemen, congratulations on what you have done. And this is an example of what you do when we work together with the bilateral relationship to create regional stability. And I'm here to say, America is back, and now drilling in the Ionian Sea. This shows what we can do when America and Greece work together to do this. This is not just American energy dominance, it's energy dominance and stability for the great Hellenic Republic. And thank you, Secretary Wright and Stavros Papastavru, amazing Secretary Burgum, and these men at this table. They're visionaries, they're entrepreneurs, they're unafraid, and they're gonna create a future of energy that is incredible, that is going to stabilize all of these regions. It is essential. It is a pushback against other Russian and Chinese interests that is imperative for national security. You are all here witnessing this historic moment. We are sharing and embracing it together, and we are just getting started at P-TEC. Wait and see.
Congratulations and thank you all, Your Excellencies. Thank you very much. Give us a couple of minutes for the mandatory photos. Okay, so as the stage will be prepared for the next panel session, and as we digest the huge announcement that we just heard, we are about to turn now to a discussion focused on the strategic role of natural gas in Europe's evolving energy landscape. Titled Corridors of Power: How Natural Gas is Redrawing Europe's Energy Map. This discussion will explore how sustained transatlantic cooperation, harmonized regulatory frameworks, and target infrastructure investment can collectively advance Europe's transition towards a more interconnected, competitive, and of course, secure energy landscape. To guide this timely conversation, we are going to welcome our moderator, Mr. Gregor Weisenthal, who is a gas expert at the energy community and who will call the speakers on stage as soon as it's ready for that. So, believe me, you're gonna love next session as much as you did the previous, because it's gonna be very interesting. So. join me here. Thank you, sir. The floor is yours.
Yes, hello dear colleagues. Could we kindly ask you to take the seats? We start? Can we start? Yes? Okay. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. I hope you can hear us. There's still quite a lot of noise in the background. I'm more than honored and happy to moderate this panel, Corridors of Power. As you know, Ukraine is facing a huge war, and our discussion of today is mostly relevant. Since around 10 years, a decade, I'm trying to work on the diversification of Russian gas supplies, the integration of regional markets, and it is a great honor for me to be here today. Having worked for the European Energy Exchange, for the Energy Community Secretariat, developed several products like Pegas, the Sigas initiative, and now new efforts on integrating markets. I am more than honored to have our speakers today with us, and I would like to thank the Department of Energy in Washington and the Ministry of Energy of Greece to organize such an event, and I can only underline what State Secretary just said. We need to get away from the Russian gas, and there is also a business opportunity in that. We saw that in Ukraine, there is no transit anymore going of Russian gas through Ukraine. Moldova is diversifying the gas supplies. And our today's topic, the vertical corridor, is of absolute importance for that region. And the colleagues who are today here with me are doing great efforts. Let me just shortly introduce who is today with me on the panel. So we have with me Maria Rita Gali, CEO of DESFA, the TSO who is actually allowing the entrance of American LNG in that region. The next to her is sitting Vladimir Malinov, the CEO of Bulgar Transgas, the TSO who is at the moment really pursuing regional integration with the cooperation between the Hungarian clearinghouse and the strong focus on building a regional market. They have really created a nucleus to develop a platform which can serve several markets. After that, we have the CEO of P-TEC, Maxim Timchenko, who will speak about Ukraine's position on the vertical corridor. Later, Fred Hutchison, LNG allies from the US. So you see, we add in our panel the supply side. We will discuss what we can do to improve supplies towards that region. And at last, we have Carrie Cawthon, Vice President, Federal Government Affairs of Chernier Energy. And with that, I will hand over actually the discussion to my panelists, and I will ask them questions. My first question will be to Maria. The vertical corridor, please explain to us how it was created, how the work within the vertical corridor is being pursued, especially as DESFA is one of the key drivers of the work of such an important project, and what outcomes we have today and what we will see in the future. I will give the floor now to Maria.
Thank you, Gregor, and I hope you can hear me because we don't hear you very well. Let me say that the vertical corridor has started back in 2016 in its first attempt to reutilize to the maximum possible extent the Trans-Balkan pipeline. But de facto, the second birth of this initiative has been in December 2022, when here in Athens, all the TSOs of Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, Slovak, Moldova, and Ukraine joined forces, signing an MOU in order to promote this initiative. This initiative is a collective effort to maximize the use of existing infrastructures, to enable new sources of LNG to flow from the south to the north and be able to deliver to the countries along the route, including, of course, our neighbors, and up to more inbound countries like Hungary and Slovakia, and, of course, Ukraine in the north. Let's say in these few years, we have seen very concrete and significant steps and progresses in the vertical corridor. First of all, this has been made possible by the fact that, let's say, the Greek government, and let me say, and then I will hand it over to Vladimir, but the Bulgarian government as well, has supported significant investment to increase the transit capacity, investment that have been approved as part of our national regulatory frameworks. And we are talking about large-scale investments of hundreds of millions, and in the case of Greece, which are being completed in the course of this year, and which enables Greece to export from 2 billion cubic meters, that was our maximum capacity in 2022, excluding TAP, of course, up to 8.5 billion cubic meters this year. So let's say this is clearly a concrete step ahead. That, of course, if you join it with the entry into the system of the Alexandroupolis FSRU, with the interconnection with ICGB, it means that in a few years we have completely changed the shape of the Greek infrastructure system. But let's say having the infrastructure is not enough. We need to have the infrastructure and have create the instrument for the market players to be able to use them, and that's why, again, all together with our partners, we have worked hard and we keep working hard to create a commercial solution that guarantees that the market players can book and can find the capacity to bring the LNG from south to the north, and that's what we have done with the new product that has been introduced a few months ago and is going to be extended during the year. And let me say that we see a growing interest from the market to use this transit route. Just to give you an indication, let's say at the beginning of this week, we have run the normal auction for the capacity of the Revitusa LNG terminal for the year 2031, because up until 2030, the terminal was already fully booked. And now in 2031, we sold all the capacity at a huge premium, meaning that the demand was much bigger, much higher than the availability. And it means that already the market players, which are those which then make things happen, are taking a strong position that they will import a lot of LNG in Greece in 2030 and onward, meaning that they strongly believe that they will be using this infrastructure not only for the Greek market, which still is growing, but mainly, let's say, to re-export through Greece these sources of LNG. And just another small number, this year, as an indication, LNG represents more or less 45% of our total imports, out of which 80% of this LNG comes from the United States. So it's a clear signal that the role of US LNG in this energy mix and the transit, which we expect to grow, is already quite significant.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And this is exactly underlying what State Secretary said before, the new business potential which is coming with the American LNG. It creates a huge upside for all markets along the route. And now we are going geographically one up, we are going to Bulgaria. Because gas is in general a diplomatic exercise. We all need to be, besides businessmen, very good diplomats, because it will not stay just in one country. And many of these diplomats are today here in the room, and I will look forward to talk to them. So, Mr. Malinov, how will the vertical corridor facilitate the entry of the US LNG in the region?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Really, it's my pleasure being here I've been on previous P-TECs on different capacity as a minister, but today's sixth one, I do believe it will be a symbolic one because it's in Athens, and a crucial one because vital steps and important decisions will be taken up front. I know it's hard to attract the attention of the audience after having on stage two state secretaries and the new US ambassador to Greece, but I will try to do in a way that you remember what we are talking about and what we are doing. So going to your question, actually the vertical gas corridor is a highway. It's a highway, maybe the one and only highway from south to north, which could bring the US LNG to the households and to the business consumers. It's a highway for 5 to 8 BCM on a yearly basis, US LNG, which could secure a very competitive economy of the region, very reliable prices for the households, and affordable and predictable and secure future for the region. But what we are doing, because when you are stepping on a highway, you need an entry point where you're going on the highway, and then an exit point when the gas reaches the end users. Okay, it's a question of being and having a visionary approach, because it's not a secret that like 5-6 years ago, the whole region was almost fully dependent on Russian gas. And having that visionary approach, we did it. We did our investment in Greece. Bulgaria's first state-owned investment in Greece was the Alexandroupoli FSRU terminal, where we are shareholder, just in order, in a time when Bulgaria was secured and flooded with Russian gas, we to have the alternative, because this is all about diversification, to have the freedom of choice, to choose the best solution for you and for your population. So we did that the first. And as Maria mentioned, actually the vertical gas corridor as initiative started like 2016, but it was just a project on paper, initiative, whatever it is. Okay, then we revived it together, all the TSOs, with the significant contribution of DESFA and Transgas, the company which we are running. And we already are having a full trust and support by our governments, the Greek government, the Bulgarian government, also the European Commission. But the real driver should be the US administration in that case, and the US LNG providers of natural gas, they to secure the volumes for the vertical gas corridor. Because when you are stepping on a highway and you want not to have no speed limits, no stops, just going fluently, you need to prefer to sit in a nice looking, comfortable limo and go on the highway. And this is what we are doing also, not just preparing the hardware, the infrastructure for that, but also the trading environment, where the US LNG providers and the off-takers, like P-TEC, and here I see a lot of friends on my left side, because we have spoken about that for many years, but now it's the proper time. So sitting in this nice limo, bringing the stakeholders together, securing them, attractive from a tariff perspective highway to move them, and a comfortable place where they could discuss and meet and negotiate and reach an agreement. Because without having these two, phase